All right. Well, hello, KMMA tribe. I'm super excited because today I'm here with the great Shihan Harley del Castillo. And I know that many of you, at least the students that are on this podcast, already know of him. But Harley, thanks for being with me today. It's kind of interesting. We've come full circle a little bit, and you can't nod because a lot of them can't hear you. But that's okay. It's interesting. We come full circle, because you did my first ever podcast with me, remember? But it was the other way around. You were interviewing me as we kicked off the first podcast, however many podcasts ago that was. But the reason why I chose to interview you today, son, is because it's it's an exciting time for you. It's an exciting time for me. It's an exciting time for all of KMMA because you are about to become the first 5th degree black belt that we have ever produced. So you're testing for your 5th degree. In fact, next Saturday, right? I mean, next Sunday. Well, all weekend.
Yep.
It's Friday through Sunday.
I said, yep, next Sunday.
Yeah. So of course the black belt retreat is all weekend, and it's really a whole weekend testing and event. And of course, in reality, it's about a whole lifetime, especially to get to the level that you've gotten, kind of making history for us. So I think maybe to kick off the interview, maybe just tell the listening audience, like I said, some of them are already our students and stuff, so they already know, but not everybody. So tell a little bit about your experience in the martial arts and Krav Maga martial arts, how long you've been training and your journey.
So I've been training about since I was 2 years old, and now I'm 22. So I've been training for 20 years. I'm about to test for my 5th degree black belt, and I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. My martial arts.
Yeah. So if thinking back over the last 20 years, it's pretty much been your whole life, obviously. And obviously that's not the case for most people, but we do have lots of students that start 4, 5, 6, or, but at any rate, the point of the story is thinking back over the last 20 years, what are some of your best memories of your times training in the martial arts?
Probably, I mean, one of the big ones is there's been a lot of Krav camps, and a lot of those have been some of the best memories. Sometimes at those, and then sometimes other events, like meeting a bunch of different masters from a bunch of different martial arts and getting to experience like training with Tuan Apollo and Master Smith and a whole bunch of other people. So I'd say like the most memorable things are those like different kind of training events, but then also, I mean, I've just done hundreds or possibly thousands of classes. So there's a lot of like scattered memories from those kind of things. And when I was younger, summer camps and getting to start my teaching journey with that. And just, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. You actually hit a lot with that. Some of the things that jumped out at me was one, it's true, you've trained with so many legends in the martial arts, from Yal, you trained Krav Maga with Yal, you trained, Kali with both Grandmaster Lazo and Tuan Apollo, and you trained kickboxing with Joe Louis, and now with Grandmaster Smith, and now you're training with Hanshi Gaston, and that's all great stuff. But then you also hit on the fact that the Krav camps, I agree, Krav camps are super fun, and of course now we've made Krav camp one day of the black belt retreat experience, so that's coming up next weekend too. But then summer camp, I think you hit another important thing, which is that while the educational piece is so awesome, and even that is, we make fun at KMMA, but we also do all the fun social events, and I've sometimes I've forgotten and then had to remember that for young people, like those things are as important, right? Like they're a big piece of the memories that our students create of the whole experience. So maybe the next question I would ask you is starts the same way over those 20 years. Obviously you've learned a lot. Obviously a lot brought you to where you are today, which is, you're very successful young man. You're doing great in college. You're in your last year of studying to be a cybersecurity professional. You're still doing amazing things as a master instructor at the dojo. And you do a lot of our marketing stuff in the background, and you're just in your great shape, and you're a leader amongst your peers and family and just all the things. You're also humble, so you get embarrassed when I'm bragging on you. But the point of the story is, um, and I'm going to go ahead and I guess kind of ask two questions in one. One, what are some of your favorite lessons? Some of the favorite things that you've developed through training in 20 years, and two, how have those things helped prepare you for what's next in your career and your life?
Well, one of them, it's not really like a lesson, but I mean, just developing confidence and public speaking skills and things like that is obviously going to help in like anything that you do, being able to confidently talk and like present your ideas and everything like that. Like for instance, just as you know, I've just interviewed with another company, and so obviously the speaking skills that I brought to that was really helpful. I mean, public speaking class in college was an easy A because of that, even though back in the past it would have been a most likely F because I don't like speaking at all. But like other lessons, there's two that I always remember because I've noticed them start to affect me more as I'm an adult. And one of them is the one that we say all the time: life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. So that's just a good thing to live by in general, in that, I mean, a lot of times life doesn't go how you want it to go, but what matters more is not what happened, but how you react to it. And that can be applied to a ton of different things. And then one of the other ones is, I think it was Jim Rohn who said it, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but the thing about how you're, I think it's like the average of the five people you hang out with, or
Law of
something along
association.
those lines. Yeah, so the fact that who you hang around with, and I mean even what you listen to and everything like that, is really going to affect how you are. Which I've just personally had experience with, like bad influences, bad friends that I've had to cut out of my life, and realize how much better it's been making good friends and listening to good things and watching good things, reading good things, all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Wow. I asked a big question, you gave a big answer. Yeah. So I'll break that down, I think, into like three parts that we can go deeper on, though. And the first one is great because you talked about, the confidence and the public speaking, and probably most people that don't know the background, right? So it's important we go, and you really would probably have to go back all the way to like you're 14 years old would probably be the end of that, right? Like because the way I remember it, and please correct me if any part is wrong, but what you're really saying is, in your most natural state, you're a very shy, introverted person, right? And
Mhm.
so much so that one of those crowd camps you talked about, in fact, I think it was the first crowd camp that you were old enough to go to, because I think back then you had to be 14 to be allowed to go to a crowd camp, if I remember correctly. Is that true?
I mean, for me, it might have been like 12 or 13, but in
Okay.
general, yeah, it was like 13 or 14 was the cutoff.
Well, whatever that was. And of course, that was because it was different then, right? Like we had a little bit less of a family program, number one. And number two, we were actually in the woods. It was a little more dangerous and and all that. But but the thing I remember is that you were so quiet. Nobody could get you to talk all weekend and everything, that I used to give the crowd camp nicknames, and I called you Chit Chat, because most of my crowd camp nicknames were
Mhm.
sarcastic. So that of course was poking fun at the fact that you were so quiet. And I think that the part that's very, very powerful for anyone listening is that we do not have to remain who we are in that sense. Like we don't have to let our liabilities define us. And the truth is, like you said, now you're a master communicator. You're a master instructor at the dojo, but you're a master communicator in life. Like you said, you do great, whatever the context is. I'm sure your interviews went great, and that's for like a 70, $80,000 starting job with can you say the name of the company? It wouldn't matter, right? Would it? Who is it?
I don't think so. ReliaQuest. It's a
For LiveQuest.
cybersecurity company.
Yeah, so it's like, so the point is, it's a huge company, professional interview for what's going to be an amazing career for you. And, you're leagues upon all of your peers. I mean, leagues not upon, above all of your peers, when it comes to confidence and communication skills because of your education of the martial arts. So that was great. And like I said, I think great for everybody to know, if like, so for example, if they had a child who's struggling with that, we can help, right? And then the second thing, what was the second? The third was the law of association, but you're saying, oh, the life 1090. Yeah. That's of course so good, because that's all about attitude and outlook and circle of concern and circle of control. And that's just great. And then you're so right with the law of association. I think one of the relevant parts of the law of association at our dojo, of course, is that so much of your association has come there, like you've been I had the help of so many great people raising you up, right? It takes a tribe, is an old cliche. And Sensei Thomas, even who's there now as our chief instructor, he's been a fundamental part of your life, and many, many others, right? Yeah. What is most exciting for you? And maybe let's hear a little bit both about your both in the martial arts, but also in other endeavors, to include the new career and everything. Like, what are some of, pick 3 to 5 of the goals about what you're most excited for next?
I mean, well, recently when we were doing the black belt goal setting season, we all made vision boards, so I pretty much put all those kind of things on there. So one of them is finishing college. I'm pretty close, about a year or so in my last year from getting my degree, and then along with that is getting a job, which I'm in the interview process right now for a career kind of job. So those are some of the things I'm excited on in that. And then from that, getting to move into my own place eventually, once I have all that stuff kind of situated. And then in martial arts, I mean, obviously there's the 5th degree coming up next. And then also I've been training jujitsu now for about a year too. So I have the goal to get a blue belt, which is second highest rank in that. Takes a little bit longer, probably about the time of like a brown or red belt in Krav Maga. So there's that. In the martial arts kind of realm, I also eventually want to do some like competitions and stuff like that to kind of like test myself in the future with how I've been doing for training for a long time. So I mean, 5th degree, blue belt, compete,
awesome,
school and work.
Awesome. And I'm of course very excited that even though you're moving on to a new career and doing some new things and practicing a new arts and everything, that you're still around the dojo. And in fact, you said you think you're going to be able to continue on Saturdays with us. And of course, that's very exciting to me, just because, in fact, later your nickname changed to Legacy. And your Krav Camp nickname changed to Legacy, and you are. And so I'm excited that you'll still be helping me influence the tribe and the up and coming students for years to come, because you just have so much to offer. And as I told our entire black belt class the other day, particularly the senior black belts, I think I was talking to, it's, for many, many years, it was mostly me and leading it from the top, but now it's, it's got to be Legacy. It's got to be you guys taking it to the next level. So now going the opposite in that discussion, talking to newer students that are just beginning their black belt leadership journey, would you have 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you'd specifically like to share with them about the journey? Like, how did they get from there to having the success you've had in the system and in the journey?
I mean, one of the things that we learn when we're teaching is that there's in general, there's 2 different kinds of like problems, for lack of a better word, that students will have. Some people are like supernaturally like aggressive and energetic and confident and stuff like that. And so in that case, a lot of the times, especially like with kids and everything like that, you have to learn to like control your energy. And then obviously I'm not one of those. I'm one of the ones who needed to bring out my energy and learn how to speak and things like that. So I can more so speak to that, and that like even I can much better deal with it now that I'm already a black belt in our system and everything. But like even in my new journey, starting as a white belt in jiu-jitsu, I've definitely come across some frustrations with either feeling just overwhelmed or feeling like I'm not one of the more natural, like picking it up immediately. So one of the things I could say is if you're one of the people who feel that way, like you're overwhelmed or like you're behind other students who are your same level, that one, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to everybody else anyways. You should only be comparing yourself to you and how you were beforehand. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Like if you look back 6 months to when you started, if you're better than you were 6 months ago, then you're still making progress. And it doesn't matter if somebody else has made a lot more progress, if they started like already better or something like that. All that matters is that you're getting better. And then the other thing along with that is just, even if it's getting frustrating and things like that, then just to always remind yourself not to quit and keep your eyes on the goal.
Yeah. Wow, there's so much good advice in there again. It's like one of the kind of, you said it like nonchalantly, but like you basically suggested the importance of not comparing yourself to others, comparing yourself only to the you of yesterday. And of course that ties to our black belt leadership lesson of, several of them, right? Constant never ending improvement, the law of the process, excellence happens daily, but not in a day. And I also think it's very interesting. Like one of the things I thought about that, just having the luxury of being on this side, having watched you go through this entire journey, and now where you're at and starting your new journey, I think that it's cool too that like you truly mastered, the one thing and then started the next thing, right? Like now you're studying jujitsu, and I think that's great for you at this point because you're so, you have so much mastery in what we do. I think some people like they make the mistake of trying to, and this isn't just in martial arts. I'm giving advice for martial arts and I'm giving advice for life in general, right? Like kind of try to master too many things at one time, and that's how you end up that jack of all trades and master of none. I think there's something to be said about focusing on one thing long enough to achieve the level of confidence, and specifically the confidence that comes from competence that you talked about. Like you basically said, now because I'm, and you humbly said a black belt. I mean, you got your first black belt how many years ago? A bunch,
Wow. Yeah. More than 10.
yeah, a decade ago or something. And yeah, more than that. Anyways, the point of the story is that a lot more than that, son. Because think about it. Because we did it the right way with you. You were a fourth degree for 5 years. You were a third degree for 4 years, and all the way back. So it's been a lot of years. But anyways, the which makes sense actually come to think of it too. But anyways, before I distracted myself, I was making a point. What was it, son? Forget. Oh, the confidence from competence, right?
Okay.
Is because that is such an important point, right? Like for somebody that struggles with confidence, they're going to always struggle with confidence, right? Like this would be a fun thing for us to talk about a little bit because we know some of these people, right? And they're always going to struggle with confidence if they never stick at anything long enough to become competent enough to be truly confident, right? And then ironically, a lot of times those people, they have like the false confidence, they have a little bit of the bravado, but you can't really develop real confidence unless you master something. I mean, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
You got anything to add about that or anything?
I mean, nothing more really than what I already said. Just sticking with it and not comparing yourself to other people,
Yeah.
and just like I said, comparing yourself to how you were like 6 months ago is a pretty good, or one belt ago, or for instance, is a pretty good way to kind of gauge that and more confident that you get, like you said, more confident that you'll be in your own ability.
Yes, I think that's so. And then, of course, I mean, of course we do, to contradict myself, of course, we do so many things in the system to give people confidence in advance, right? Like the way we prop young white belts up and make them, what's the first skill? Tell everybody what's the first skill that every instructor learns at Krav Maga martial arts.
Being a good finder.
Can you explain to everybody, the audience, what that means?
Basically means trying to find something positive in every person, and not I think I even wrote about this sometime recently, either a Facebook post or my speech or something, but going against what's natural for everybody, which is just to point out the negatives constantly. And I mean, you can even do that with yourself.
That's good. That is good. So it's about more empowering talk to our students. It's about more empowering talk to our kids. It's about more empowering talk to each other, but it's especially about more empowering talk to ourselves. That's good.
Mhm.
That's good. Well, son, as we get ready for this next black belt extravaganza, which will be the big celebration of everybody taking their next steps, because we got you going to 5th degree, and we got Sensei Kyle going to 4th degree, and Sensei Sarah going to 3rd degree, and a few people going to 2nd degree, and a few more people going to 1st degree. And then, but of course, all the way at the beginning, we have white belts becoming yellow belts, right? So, as pertains to that process, or just talking to all those people, or any of those people, any closing words of wisdom before we launch into that exciting next evolution?
Pretty much touched on anything I can think of, which is, again, just not quitting and not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed and everything like that. And pretty much keep showing up, and you'll keep getting better, and keep your eyes on the ultimate goal, so you don't lose sight of it and let yourself get distracted by other things. So constantly remind yourself, which is why we do like the vision boards and things like that, to always be looking towards that goal and keep your eyes on that, because sometimes it'll be super exciting and fun to come to class, and then other times it'll be frustrating and you might not want to. But one of the things I heard somebody say recently was that you won't always, like, in working out in general, like any kind of fitness, well, really any kind of goal, you won't always feel good going into it, but you always feel good coming out of it. So bring yourself to go on the days that you don't want to go, or the days that you should go, even more so than the days that you do feel like going.
I love it. That is great and perfect wisdom to close on. So, Shihan, Harley, thank you so much. Thank you for spending the time with our audience today. Thank you for all the help that you do for me in the background producing all this stuff. And most of all, thank you for all these years being a role model. You went from, you're the senior person in the dojo, other than myself. You're my senior student, and you have truly lived through all of these phases and set the example and been a role model to so many. And for all of those things, plus being such a great son and brother, and I'm grateful to you.